At the heart of Freud's thinking was how and why discomforting past thoughts could become repressed, only to be woven into the symptoms and psychic knots of everyday life. Freud believed that the unconscious mind held the key.
The unconscious mind had been imagined and debated right across the human experience for many centuries. But Freud was one of the first to take a really systematic approach, to try to add precision to the perceptions of the unconscious mind.
A painful personal tragedy would trigger his big breakthrough. In 1896, Freud was devastated by the death of his father.
Freud wrote to Fliess, "My inner self, my whole past has been reawakened by this death. I now feel completely uprooted." But in fact, these complex, intense thoughts would have a catalyzing effect on him.
Freud had been experimenting with self-analysis, scrutinizing his fragmentary childhood memories and deep-seated terrors.
The loss of his father intensified that exploration, and the secret of his self-analysis, he started to analyze his own dreams.
Few saw dreams as having any scientific substance. But Freud chose to think differently.
He looks at dreams as something that is multi-layered. There is the story that people remember when they wake up, but for Freud that story is only the surface of our dream. What lies underneath is what he calls the latent dream thoughts. But those latent thoughts become distorted, they become censored.
Why does this censorship need to happen?
Well, you see, these dream thoughts, they contain all the repressed wishes and thoughts and fantasies that consciousness considered to be disturbing and troubling. Were they not to be censored, then they would manifest themselves in all their disruptive force. For Freud, a dream is essentially a fulfillment of an unconscious wish.
How are Freud's ideas about the unconscious evolving at this time?
For Freud, the unconscious is no longer just a set of traumatic memories. It's a container of wishes and thoughts and fantasies that have been self-generated by the mental life of every human being.
Oh, what's the value of these for Freud? I mean, what's he doing with this raw material?
Within his clinical practice, he would piece together the various associations that people bring to the story that they remember, and with those bits and pieces, he would try to arrive at a certain understanding of those unconscious repressed wishes that sit underneath. With Freud's theory, we as human beings can look and think about our dreams as productions of our mind that actually reveal something about who we are, and that's extraordinarily valuable.
Freud's book, The Interpretation of Dreams, offered a radical new understanding of human nature, with the unconscious a reservoir of repressed inner desires and irrational impulses, the hidden source of what motivates and makes us.
There's an interesting detail in the story of the publication of The Interpretation of Dreams. And although this book was actually published in 1899, it was branded with the date 1900. Freud was telling the world that the theories in here would define the 20th century and that they'd herald the birth of a daring, brave new world.
But this brave new world was riddled with anxiety. It was said that to be Viennese was to be a question mark. Liberalism had failed to deliver real power to the middle classes. who felt threatened by a rising urban population. In this climate, an appetite grew for new experimental art that explored beneath the rational surface of human existence. Freud's theories perfectly matched the zeitgeist.